Welcome to this Lady Panther Sports Network live stream event. Joe Roberts, Ross Norwood on play-by-play, producer Richard Ewing. It's game day with Lady Panther softball. Let's get it.
Good afternoon, Panther Nation, and welcome to this special edition of Lady Panther Softball on the Lady Panther Sports Network. I'm Joe Roberts, alongside me, play-by-play man Ross Norwood, who is going to be with our very special senior Lady Panther softball players. What did I just say? Our softball players this afternoon. We are in downtown Austin at the hotel on the balcony, and we are doing our off-day game show. And Ross Norwood, take it away.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you, ladies, for joining me on y'all's off day. I think y'all had a practice earlier today?
Yes, sir, we did.
Okay, so Reagan Williamson, senior, Kendall Daniels, senior, Macy Beam, senior, and Kylie Bishop, senior. And they played on that team last year that won the state championship. And Kendall, you were here, but you were in Liberty, but you were not playing because of transfer rules.
Yes, sir.
So last night, the ladies defeated Iowa Park 5-3. Liberty putting up a 5-run third inning as they had entered that inning down 2-0, and they were able to hold on to that game. A very good game defensively and offensively, great at bats from the three of y'all, and really saw again the ability to string together a two-out rally and put up crooked numbers, which is definitely something that can help and kind of demoralize the other team. Let's start with you, Reagan. What were your thoughts on the game last night?
Well, I had no doubt that we were going to come back. It's always been our thing this entire season. Like, we're going to get down, but we're always going to get back and beat the heck out of them.
And some good defensive plays all around. And you had some pretty big scoops on throws that may have been low, and some going up and getting balls and keeping them there. Even if an out wasn't made, it kept it from turning into an error or extra bases. Center field, Macy Beam, another great night in the field, and,
Yes,
and
sir.
some really good and tough at-bats.
Yes, sir.
What was it like going into that game, knowing that y'all had been there last year in this spot against Bullard?
It was exciting, but at the same time, it was nerve-wracking. But in the end, we all knew we had it. I trust my team trusts me. We're one big family, and that's how we get through everything. And I trust in that no matter what.
So in instances, and y'all have done this, and I'll go to you, Kylie, done this throughout the year, but really turning it up in the postseason. You may be trailing in a game, 2 runs, a run, or 5 runs. And you kind of get to an inning, you get the first 2 outs are made very quickly, and then all of a sudden you put up a 5 or 6 run inning with 2 outs. What is the mindset when you go to the plate with 2 outs and nobody on?
Well, I always just have to tell myself, like, it's just another game. It's just another at-bat. I've done this a million times, and I'm going to do whatever I can to help this team out. And also, like Holly yesterday was the one who was up to bat with the 2 outs. And I always make sure to tell her, you do you. You are always great. You just have to.
And Reagan, you had an RBI in last night's game coming in that 3rd inning. What was that at bat like? I believe you had 2 outs.
I did. Honestly, I've been up to bat with 2 outs like so many times this season that I don't even pay attention to the amount of outs there. You know, I'm just like, I have to contact it. It has to go somewhere on the ground or in a gap, and I have to get this run to score, especially if she's on 2nd or 3rd.
When you have those ladies in scoring position, you want to put them across the plate.
Oh, most definitely.
And Kendall, it's been tough for you since the accident. You've been sidelined and not able to play. What has that experience been like for you, and how can you use that going forward?
It's definitely been a little bit hard. I mean, just being at senior season and everything, but definitely gives you a different look at the game and perspective about how every role is equally as important. Although I was on the field and now I am no longer on that field with my teammates, we still are one family. Honestly, I think that with everything that happened, it really brought us together more as a team, and just the trust that we have to have in our teammates, and just making sure that I capitalize on my role as being on the bench now.
You mentioned it brought the team together. You feel like it's brought y'all closer together, and there were the 2 accidents, which is kind of a freak deal.
Yes.
On the same
very
night,
much.
but separate accidents.
Yeah, it definitely has brought us closer together as a team, I'd have to say, because especially with Holly also being in an accident only like an hour before I was, and us both being out for, was it first and second round? Or
Yes.
Yeah, as I say, it was a good minute we were both out, and just to like know that our team, they all see that there's more to this than just a game, and that we have to play for the people that can't be there physically on the field.
So your accident was on a Tuesday, I believe,
It
after
was on a Monday.
on a Monday,
Yes.
after the Hampshire Finette game in Hampshire
Yes.
Finette. Later that week, the last regular season game, a big one against Huffman, and you made it there to that game.
Yes, I did make it to that game.
And
I came straight from the hospital.
I can remember I was walking up, I think around the time you were walking up, and to see your teammates light up when
Oh,
they
yeah.
saw you, and it just the energy, that was amazing.
Oh
And
yeah, it definitely made my whole week. Being in a hospital bed all week, and then making sure, it was a big deal for me to be at that game. Like, just to be there with my teammates meant more to me than anything else. And just to see everybody run up to me, and just like, I know Reese came up to me, and Holly was up there and just started crying as soon as I hugged them, because you just learn that you appreciate your teammates more than anything else.
Now, last night, the pitcher, Abby Dow, she was not a lot of velocity, but seemed to have a lot of movement. How do you counteract that if you're used to seeing a pitcher that has that velocity, but she seemed to have command and control? Macy?
On pitchers who have movement, you just have to look for your pitch and you have to just know what pitch you want to hit and lay off all of the junk. Because if you don't have in mind what you're going to hit, you will just swing at anything. And there was a lot of movement, but we caught on to that, and the quicker you catch on to it, the faster you shut her down and keep it going.
I noticed that's one hallmark that y'all have had throughout this season, and even last year, is the ability, maybe you get fooled in the first at bat, sometimes the second at bat, but in that third at bat, you show the adjustments. Do y'all talk to each other? It looks like, from my perspective, after, say there's a strikeout, you go and talk to the next hitter. What are you just giving them some advice on?
After each at bat, we go tell the next batter what we're seeing, what she's throwing, where the pitch was in the zone, and what we would like to see and what they need to see.
Kylie, Tough, you changed positions this year.
Yes,
And
sir.
a pretty big change, going from second base to third base. What was that experience like? And as a spectator, it just seemed like you became more and more confident in that role at third base.
Yes, sir. So I had originally played third for the Lady Panthers my freshman year, but last year I had to deal with an arm injury, and so I had to get moved to second. And then coming back into third's a really good spot for me because I don't have much time to think. I have really good reactions to the ball. And so third, being you're so close to the hitters, it's hit, catch, throw. You don't have any time to think about it, and I like that the best because when you don't have time to think, that leaves room for less error, and it's just much easier for me.
What was the biggest adjustment? The throwing angle?
Definitely the throw. The throw, moving from second where it's just a little flip, and then third, I have to actually set my feet, get my throw in the right angle, and then make it there in a certain amount of time. It's much quicker and has to be much harder. So yes, it was a very, very big difference.
And Reagan, you've received quite a few throws from Kylie, and what is that like? You see a throw coming in, and it's low. What is your mindset there, and how do you concentrate to catch that ball?
I just know I have to get down there and get my face to the ball and try to pick it as best as possible. Because if I don't, then there's a possibility that run could score after later at bats. And I'm like, okay, I gotta get there. Last night was not my best night for that, and I'm taking that upon myself, and we're gonna do it way better this next game.
And that definitely has saved a lot of runs. I know Brianna had a play in that Lake Belton game, and I was fooled because that ball looked like it was going to get through, and then out of nowhere, she scoops it up. You're a shortstop. What is that like when you're in that position and you have to range over so far?
Really, the biggest thing is the angles of the ball you take. The better the angle, you can make plays that you don't think anybody else in the stands or watching the game thinks you can make. And with Breezy being as fast as she is as well, it just allows her to have so much more range and be able to cut those angles just a little bit more, a little bit closer to where the speed that she has is able to get those runners out.
Speaking of speed, y'all 1 through 9 are pretty stacked with the speed. What advantage is that for you guys when you're taking these late at bats in counts that may be 0-2 that aren't favorable to you as a hitter?
Well, I definitely think with our speed, if we have little dribblers, almost all of us can run them out. And then once we do get on base, say somebody bunts or there's a pass ball, we know we're getting 1 or even 2 bases. If there's a little dribbler over the infield, we're definitely getting 2 bases for that. And I think that just helps us out because these teams don't expect us to have this kind of speed.
Macy, I remember a couple of series ago, I can't remember if it was Viter or Navasota or if it was Bridge City, but you hit a ball to the outfield and it looked like, okay, that's going to be a routine single. Yeah. There was one misplay, and I'm watching you, and before I know it, you're rounding second base.
You just have to read the ball and know your own speed and trust yourself in any situation like that. If you know you can do it, I believe anybody can get there.
Speaking of the Bridge City series, you scored a big run in
Yes,
Game 3. What was that like coming from third base, and it was a fairly close play at the plate?
I knew that we needed something to get the energy back, and I just chanced it.
All righty. Well, I'm excited, not probably as excited as y'all are, to play in the final game of the season for the second year in a row. Real quick, Kylie, tell us what you're doing after you get wrapped up and graduate, what is that, next week?
Yes, sir. I'll be attending Sam Houston University for softball, and I'll be majoring in kinesiology. My career is still undecided, so we'll see what my future holds.
Will you be at third base, or you don't know just yet where you'll be?
I have no idea where I could be. I could be in the outfield. I could be in the infield. As long as I'm hitting, I will be somewhere. So,
Macy.
I'm attending San Jack, and I am going for my athletic training degree, and yeah.
You also changed the position this year.
Yes.
What is that like, going from right field or left field?
Left field.
To center field?
So, even freshman year, I was in right field. Then last year, left field. But in the outfield, it's pretty much the same, no matter where you are.
So, Kendall, we, got to see you at shortstop and that great range you had in the power bat. And where are you taking that?
I'm going to be attending Tarleton State University next year. I'm going to be studying animal science there and playing softball.
Position shortstop-ish or stay
I'm
on the
actually
infield?
going to be pitching
Okay.
and hitting is
and
what
we
I'm
did
committed
see you
for.
pitch a little bit this year.
Yes.
All righty, Reagan.
Well, I'm attending Texas A&M University to study biology.
Got a whoop from our producer, Richard Ewing.
To possibly be an oral surgeon, and I'm just gonna chill out.
So tomorrow, no matter what happens,
Will
is
be
your
my
last
last game
softball you ever
ever.
play.
Ever, yes.
And well, all 4 of you have such promising futures, not only for you 3 on the softball field, but academically and professionally. I want to thank you all for joining us, and thank you so much for providing yet another great season of entertainment and also a few moments where you're, getting a little nervous and that heart starts moving into the throat. But thank you all so much. It has been a pleasure to watch you guys in the last 2 years, or 3, because I was there in 19. But I wish you all the best.
Well, thank you for having us.
That will do it for our off-day show. Thank you for joining us. And we will have the game, the state championship game against Sweeney, tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. We'll go on the network about 10 before 1. For the Liberty Panther Sports Network, Richard Ewing, Joe Roberts, I'm Ross Norwood. Good afternoon.
Producing and providing responsibly raised, local, quality Brahman beef that is grass developed and grain finished. Find us on Facebook or call us at 831-272-4626. Or email us, sales@pricklypearmeats.com. The Prickly Pear Meat Company, providing Texas beef for Texas folks.